Dominik Mysterio betrays Rhea Ripley. Roman Reigns' WWE return announcement. Cody Rhodes has a huge problem at SummerSlam. Charlotte Flair is covering up her WWE return. Damian Priest finally addresses his Money in the Bank botch. Damian Priest versus Gunther is highly controversial. Cody Rhodes' storyline against the Bloodline needs major changes. Dominik Mysterio's message to Rhea Ripley after choosing her over Liv Morgan. Let's dive right in. Roman Reigns' WWE return announcement. With SummerSlam just 10 days away, the excitement is at a fever pitch. WWE fans are expecting massive things from the biggest party of the summer. However, we could still get some important moments before the premium live event rolls around. There is one live episode of Raw and SmackDown each left, which could feature some more twists. So, with that in mind, let's look at 4 possible swerves that could rock WWE in the week before SummerSlam. Number 1, Nick Aldis adds a big stipulation for SummerSlam. It's finally official. Logan Paul will defend his United States Championship against LA Knight at SummerSlam. The Maverick has barely defended the title since winning it last November, meaning it is in WWE's best interests for the megastar to become US champion next Saturday. One way to ensure Knight has a fair chance is to remove the champion's advantage, following one too many cheap shots from Paul. Nick Aldis should announce that the title can change hands on a disqualification or countout, pretty much ensuring a fair fight. The SmackDown general manager may do so on the night before SummerSlam, giving Logan Paul versus LA Knight some extra excitement heading into the show. Number 2, Damian Priest completes his babyface turn on WWE Raw. Damian Priest's babyface turn has been building for months now, with the Judgment Day member growing as a performer during his World Heavyweight Championship reign. He is yet to be acknowledged as a complete hero, though. That should happen before SummerSlam, where Priest will likely lose his title to Gunther. El Campeon has had a few great weeks opposite the ring general, garnering sympathy from the fans. With the support pretty high for him and his documentary set to release, it's time for Damian Priest to complete his turn. He can cut an emotional promo about his real-life story on next week's Raw, which has already been brought up during his feud with Gunther. It would only make their match at SummerSlam bigger and better. Number 3, Liv Morgan goes after Jey Uso next. After getting rejected and humiliated by Dominik Mysterio, Liv Morgan might have some other tricks up her sleeve. She may want to get back at Dirty Dom for what happened on Raw, while also annoying Rhea Ripley. The Women's World Champion can flirt with Jey Uso, who has been pursuing mommy lately. This could make Mysterio quite jealous, given his interactions with Morgan in the past. It might even turn his head before SummerSlam, potentially setting up a massive turn at the event. Either way, Liv Morgan has enough reasons to go after Jey Uso on Raw. Her advances may not be successful, but they may end up causing Dominik Mysterio to switch sides and betray Rhea Ripley. The drama from that point would be spicy. Number 4, Paul Heyman returns on WWE SmackDown and announces Roman Reigns' return. While Paul Heyman could return alongside Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, this isn't out of the question. It would be an effective way to ensure people tune in for the premium live event while building excitement for the big moment at the end. But how will it go down? The Bloodline's former Wiseman can appear on SmackDown next week, potentially after Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu become the WWE Tag Team Champions. Heyman can then let Solo Sikoa know that Reigns will be at SummerSlam to witness the biggest moment of his career and acknowledge the new tribal chief. These are, of course, mind games to put pressure on Solo to deliver. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes would be concerned about Roman Reigns' potential involvement in his business. This can all lead to the Big Uce returning alongside Jimmy Uso to take out every new member of the Bloodline, allowing Rhodes to defeat a distracted Sikoa. Cody Rhodes has a huge problem at SummerSlam. Cody Rhodes is set to defend the undisputed WWE Championship against Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam. According to an ex-writer and wrestling veteran, WWE is in a catch-22 situation and thinks they're out of their minds due to a major issue. On the latest episode of Writing with Russo, wrestling veteran Vince Russo spoke briefly about the undisputed WWE Championship match that will headline SummerSlam. The speculation is that Cody Rhodes will likely retain his title, and the match will set up the return of Roman Reigns after 4 months. According to Vince Russo, WWE has backed themselves into a corner because they can't afford to have Cody Rhodes lose, and it will be detrimental for Solo Sikoa to lose as well. He thinks that booking them against each other was a bad decision, and quoted Vince McMahon's old philosophy: "I think they've backed themselves into a corner in a lot of ways. Obviously, you can't beat Cody Rhodes right now, and you really don't want to beat Solo Sikoa right now, because you want Solo whole for when Roman Reigns comes back. If they WWE think Cody beating Solo, and then the heels getting their heat back, if they think that's going to protect Solo, they're out of their freaking minds. Out of their minds. So obviously, bro, you're going to beat Cody with the first real contender, I guess you could say. since he won the title. Yeah, he could beat AJ and everybody else, but he's not gonna beat Solo. On the other hand, Vince McMahon used to say, you can't take the rose off the bloom. You can't take the rose of the bloom for Solo, because you want that for Roman Reigns. Charlotte Flair is covering up her WWE return. Charlotte Flair is undoubtedly one of the greatest of all time, but she hasn't been seen in a WWE ring for quite a while. Since last wrestling in December 2023, rumors have been running amok regarding her potential return. She's back in training, and her rehabilitation is going well. But, not wanting to ruin the surprise, the Queen might be taking the WWE Universe for a ride by covering up suspicions of her return. The tactic Charlotte Flair is adopting for her cover-up job has a lot to do with WWE's developmental brand, NXT. As mentioned earlier, the WWE Universe is eagerly awaiting Flair's return to the main roster. However, the 17-time champion has been using her social media platforms rather cunningly to divert attention away from the main roster entirely. Last week, Charlotte Flair engaged in a little verbal tete-a-tete with the NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez. For context, Perez cut an impassioned promo last week, blasting the skill level of her fellow competitors, and in the flow of things, she made mention of Flair. Well, she got a few facts wrong, but Charlotte was more than happy to correct her, while also hinting that they would meet in the ring someday. Now, this has many wondering if Flair could make her return to NXT. But given the caliber of superstar that she is, that is highly unlikely. Perhaps she was suggesting a match with Perez, when the latter inevitably makes it to the main roster. That said, this is nothing more than speculation, and there is no telling where or when she will return. While Charlotte Flair is interested in a match with Roxanne Perez, she has also not shied away from appreciating her talent. She believes the prodigy has what it takes to become the next big WWE superstar, and she has taken the chance to let her know it. Reacting to a post from Perez on X, the Queen proved that she is a big fan. Last night, Perez shared a tweet hyping up NXT, claiming, "Tuesday nights are everybody's favorite because it's Tuesday Night Rocks." It was a pretty standard post from Perez, but what was intriguing about it was the response she received from Flair. Clearly in agreement, Charlotte responded with a muscle emoji, showing her support for the 22-year-old. If and when Roxanne makes it to the main roster, she may find an ally, mentor, and great rival in the Queen. It's safe to say that there is mutual respect between the two. Hopefully, we will get to see it play out on television. Damian Priest finally addresses his Money in the Bank botch. The World Heavyweight Championship match between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins at WWE Money in the Bank 2024 in Toronto was marred by controversy. A botched pinfall attempt became the main issue, and now Damian Priest has spoken out about the kickout. Damian Priest defended his World Heavyweight Championship against Seth Rollins at WWE Money in the Bank 2024. The match had a key rule. If Priest won, Rollins could never challenge for the title again while Priest was champion. If Rollins won, Priest would have to leave the Judgment Day. As the match neared its end, Rollins hit a Falcon Arrow, but the referee controversially stopped counting at 2, even though Priest didn't kick out. During the confusion, Drew McIntyre showed up with his Money in the Bank briefcase, ready to cash in. The bell rang, and McIntyre tried to hit Priest with a Future Shock DDT, but Priest countered with a clothesline. CM Punk then made a surprise appearance, attacking McIntyre with a chair, choking him with a cable, and hitting him with the title belt. Priest took advantage of the chaos by pinning McIntyre to keep his championship. Viewers noticed that Priest didn't actually kick out when Rollins pinned him, leading to speculation about whether the referee made a mistake, if Priest forgot to kick out, or if there was a timing issue with McIntyre's interruption. While speaking to the New York Post, Damian Priest addressed the botched kickout. Priest clarified that the idea of him forgetting to kick out is not accurate, emphasizing his extensive experience in the ring. He explained that the issue was not due to a lapse in memory, but rather a specific situation that arose during the match. He reassured fans that everything is fine, and the story continues as planned. According to Priest, the mishap did not impact the overall narrative or the ongoing storyline. He mentioned that the fans who matter understand the situation, and that the focus should remain on moving forward. The idea that I forgot to kick out, that's not a thing. We don't forget to kick out. 20 years in, I'm pretty sure there is some kind of muscle memory there. So me forgetting was not the case. There was nothing outside that was supposed to happen. It was a matter of, there was a situation, but I'm okay. Everybody's fine. The story continues. It doesn't affect anything. The show goes on, and I think fans are very invested in everything that's going on. The ones that matter knew the situation, and nobody thought twice about it. It was move on. Triple H has also defended Damian Priest after the major botch at Money in the Bank, and we have also reported the internal reaction to the botch. Nevertheless, everyone is now moving on from the whole ordeal, as we are now officially on the road to SummerSlam, and that's all that matters. Do you feel the botch really affected the overall match? Damian Priest versus Gunther is highly controversial. Damian Priest versus Gunther is one of the marquee matches for SummerSlam 2024. An ex-WWE writer thinks that there's going to be a highly controversial finish to the World Heavyweight Championship match. On the latest episode of Sportskeeda's Writing with Russo, Vince Russo went into detail about the World Heavyweight Championship match between Damian and Gunther. He believes that the Judgment Day is going to accidentally cost Priest the title. Russo thinks that just like the situation with Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa, neither Priest nor Gunther should be losing. He thinks that WWE shouldn't be booking them against each other anyway. Let's just go to Gunther and Damian Priest. Neither one of these guys should be beaten right now, and somebody's going to have to get beat. You're going to tell me if the Judgment Day accidentally screws Damian Priest, you're going to tell me that helps Damian Priest. Neither one of those guys should be losing right now. That's why you should not be booking them against each other. When asked who he thinks will win, Vince Russo said that he believes Gunther will emerge victorious, and that WWE honestly feels fans are interested in seeing Priest versus Finn Balor. They're going to put Gunther over because they honestly believe people are going to be interested in Priest versus Finn Balor. We spoke about that. They honestly believe that. This week on Raw, the World Heavyweight Champion received a huge reaction when he came out to confront Gunther, who was looking down on him and demanded that he simply be handed the title. Rather than saying a word, the World Heavyweight Champion struck Gunther and got the better of him in their brawl before it was abruptly cut off. The brawl resumed backstage, and tensions continued to escalate between El Campeón and the challenger ahead of the biggest match of their careers at SummerSlam 2024 in Cleveland. Cody Rhodes' storyline against the Bloodline needs major changes. Undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes has a lot on his plate heading into the biggest party of the summer in Ohio. Meanwhile, Aiden English, aka Matthew Rehwoldt, said the ongoing storyline needs a major change on Friday Night SmackDown. After WrestleMania XL, Solo Sikoa's Bloodline has added new faces to the Stamford-based promotion. However, the self-proclaimed tribal chief has been using the same tactics against Cody Rhodes and his allies every week on Friday Night SmackDown. Speaking on the Rebooked Wrestling podcast, English addressed the ongoing storyline between Rhodes and Sikoa on Friday Night SmackDown. The former WWE star believes the management needs to change the execution of the beatdowns as they have become repetitive. I think the argument here is, can we do it in a slightly different way? Instead of hold you down, beat him up at ringside and watch that as they put him through a table or whatever it is. I don't know. Do it backstage or hit him with a car or light their gear on fire. I don't know. Something just other than a beatdown at ringside, English said. Earlier this year, Cody Rhodes' allies helped him conquer the tribal chief in Philadelphia. Later, Solo Sikoa forcefully took over the Bloodline and started eliminating members from within the faction. After adding new dangerous members to the Bloodline, Sikoa went after the undisputed WWE champion. The American Nightmare luckily had a backup in the form of Randy Orton and Kevin Owens on Friday Night SmackDown. However, Jacob Fatu's arrival changed the landscape, and Solo Sikoa's Bloodline dominated the competition. Earlier this month, the villainous faction viciously took out Randy Orton and made Cody Rhodes watch it. Last week, Solo Sikoa's faction pulled off the same act with Kevin Owens as the group took the prizefighter out of the equation before heading into the biggest party of the summer in Ohio. Dominik Mysterio's message to Rhea Ripley after choosing her over Liv Morgan. Dominik Mysterio has finally made his choice between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. After a rocky few months, he has doubled down on his relationship with the Eradicator on the latest episode of Raw. Dirty Dom took to social media to send Mommy a loving message as well. This development comes after Morgan has been constantly trying to steal Mysterio from Ripley. Her efforts proved to be unsuccessful though, with Dominik telling the Women's World Champion that he hates her. The Judgment Day member went on a tirade that caused Liv to leave the place in tears. While Morgan has reacted to the public humiliation in a concerning way, Dominik Mysterio posted a few photos of him and Rhea Ripley on X, Twitter, and Instagram. He tagged her and added a one-word message to the posts: Mommy, along with black and purple heart emojis. Mommy Rhea Ripley WWE, Dominik Mysterio shared. It will be interesting to see what happens next in this storyline. Dominik Mysterio will surely be at ringside when Rhea Ripley competes against Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship at SummerSlam 2024. While he proved his allegiance to Mommy on Raw, Dirty Dom could end up siding with Morgan. Dominik Mysterio betrays Rhea Ripley. Dominik Mysterio chose Rhea Ripley over Liv Morgan last Monday on WWE Raw. However, a former WWE host thinks Dirty Dom will betray his mommy and side with the Women's World Champion. The ex-host in question is Matt Camp. On his The Wrestling Matt podcast, he discussed the recent developments in the love triangle between Morgan, Ripley, and Mysterio. On Raw, Dirty Dom told the Women's World Champion that he hated her and she ruined his life, leaving the 30-year-old in tears. His actions seemingly patched things up in his relationship with Mommy, who surprisingly licked his face. Despite this, the former Raw Talk host believes the former NXT North American champion will turn on his on-screen love interest and align himself with Morgan for a single significant booking reason, which is that Ripley cannot be a babyface with Dom by her side. Rhea Ripley ain't gonna be a babyface with Dominik Mysterio standing next to her. And she is a babyface. And she's been a babyface since she beat Becky at WrestleMania, and probably before that, and since Liv drove her arm into a wall and injured her. She is a top 5 person in the company that's a babyface. Dirty Dom with Rhea is not a babyface, and based on that, I am fully expecting Dom to side with Liv, he said. On the Busted Open podcast, wrestling veteran Tommy Dreamer also addressed Dominik Mysterio's segment with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw. The ECW legend disclosed that he believes Dirty Dom was lying about his feelings towards the Women's World Champion. The 53-year-old also predicted that the former NXT North American champion will side with Morgan. He's saying what he wants publicly, which may or may not be what the fans want, and then you'll have the girl heartbroken. But in my opinion, I think this is going to play out further at SummerSlam. And I think this is going to be a major catalyst. I personally feel he's lying and he's going to stay with Liv, he said. While many expect Dirty Dom to turn on Mommy at SummerSlam, former WWE employee Tommy Carlucci addressed the possibility of seeing Finn Balor interfere in the Women's World Championship match to cost his Judgment Day teammate her title shot, revealing himself as Morgan's co-conspirator. It would be interesting to see how this storyline will play out. Do you think Dominik Mysterio will play a deciding role in the Women's World Championship match at WWE SummerSlam?